Siragusa, broadcasting from Southern California. I'm joined today by Carlos Ponce, my co-host in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hi, Carlos. Welcome back.
Thank you, Tulio.
And Mariel Navarro from Chihuahua, Mexico. Hi, Mariel. Good to have you back as well.
Hey, guys.
And then, of course, let's not forget our guest. This is why we do this. We have Fermin Morales, who's broadcasting. Where are you broadcasting from, Fermin?
From Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Awesome.
Yes,
And Bo Sijuade, did I say that right?
Sijuade.
Sijuade, forgive me. And are you also in Dallas, Bo? I'm not sure he's hearing us. Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. So we got Texas, California, Mexico representing today. It's fantastic. It's a day before Thanksgiving, everyone. This is the last show for this week and the last show, I think, for the month. Maybe not. No, we have the recap show on Monday. But
yeah, we got the recap.
But before we forget, we want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. May you be safe. And we want to thank you for joining us. We have another great show today. But before we go right into that, let's get to know our guests. Who'd like to go first? Perhaps, Fermin, you can give us a little bit about yourself, and then Bo can follow. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. To tell you a little bit about my personal life, I guess I'd call myself first generation Mexican American. Was actually born in Mexico. Basically, wait, Bo, can you hear me?
There's some echo, Fermin. There's some echo. Just so that you know.
Fermin, you're good. I think Bo's a little delayed, but keep going. We're good.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. These are the type of things that we have to deal with this whole COVID thing. I wish I was there with y'all and being able to have it maybe in person, right? I'd love to be able to be out maybe somewhere in Mexico City or, properly in Mexico, have this conversation face to face.
Awesome. Yes.
But yeah, definitely. So I grew up down in Brownsville, Texas, was born in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. So I definitely appreciate being brought on because obviously we share that in common, right? We're all from Mexico. And again, growing up in a multicultural family, my family's been in Texas, I'm talking about for years and years and years, since like before the Alamo, have a mixed multicultural kind of a background, right? But in reality, mom is from Mexico fully on my mom's side. My dad, dabbled back and forth between Brownsville. He was born in Monterrey. Half of my family was born in Monterrey on my dad's side. So from there, I just bounced around a lot due to my dad's job. He's a doctor, so have gotten a chance to become extremely, aware of different cultures, different communities. Lived in Brownsville, Matamoros, Tijuana, San Diego, Mexico City, San Antonio, Dallas, and all this thanks to my parents, right? So they've been extremely I think I've been extremely lucky. I've made some amazing friendships throughout that, which has helped how that translates into Oyster has helped us make like this extremely good network that we've been able to reach out to even today. People that I met when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, with social media being so prominent nowadays, it just makes it so easy to reach out to these people that you might have not thought you'd had contact, 20, 30 years ago. So from there, I ended up going to med school actually in Mexico for a year. My dad's a doctor, my mom's a dentist. So I thought naturally, I was like, I want to become a doctor too, right? From there, I went to UTSA, studied political science, had a couple of internships, ran a couple of campaigns, local city campaigns there in San Antonio, Texas, helped with their social media campaigning, did well in that. And through the internships, I kind of found out that I didn't want to be an attorney. I didn't want to be in politics. I was like, okay, kind of got to reevaluate. Took a sales job and kind of started falling in love with actually starting entrepreneurship, started another business or another company, very local within the Brownsville community during that time, where we helped out with recycling and try to implement that. Granted, it's very small. It's a smaller city, so it's a lot harder to implement and get everybody with the idea of that. I think the larger cities I've noticed are usually the first ones to advance into different forms of environmental awareness, and obviously to make them smart cities as well, as I'm noticing again. And that's what ties us all into Oyster, right? We're trying to make cities a lot smarter and help out on that end. So
Fermin, let's talk about that. It looks like we lost Bo, another casualty of the internet dilemma, but hopefully you'll be able to get back in and we'll get an introduction from him. But tell us about Oyster. What is Oyster? You started going into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us what gave birth to this idea. What do you guys do? What's your value proposition?
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the question. So primarily how the idea came to be, I had just traveled to New York City and I'd just gotten back to Dallas. I just moved here, had taken a software sales job prior to that. And I'm a pretty open and very sociable guy. So we were out and about and I'm trying to meet people, right? I'm out in Dallas. I'm like, well, I want to know where everybody's at. I want to know where the best places are at. I want to know, where I can go to.
Everybody's at Mikosina in Highland Park.
Well, like I mentioned, everybody is there
having mambo tacos.
Exactly. Well, if you're more like me, Tulio, I think I'm more of a mambo limousine. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's the equivalent. It's a smaller mambo taxi. It's the bigger one. So that's what does it for me.
Well, because they limit you to 2 at Mikosina last time I was there, because those things are lethal.
Maybe you're not holding. Maybe you're not holding your liquor well. I don't know. They never limit me to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably. All right, let's get back on track. Yeah. Oyster, tell us a little bit more.
Oyster. So essentially, we thought about it. I had just gone from New York, and Bo and I started talking. We were actually with a group of friends, and I think this is a big takeaway, was that we actually started talking about it with several friends, right? We're like, hey, it'd be a great idea if we put, I just got back from New York. The taxi cabs in New York have these screens, and I saw plays, I saw concerts through there, and I was like, there's a lot of stuff you can do during this time, while you're in the back of this, mobile, in front of this mobile advertisement. And so basically, I was like, well, why isn't that available inside Ubers? That's what's most prominent. Again, Bo and I got together, and we started developing our first, I guess it would be our MVP or our, I guess for better word, our prototype. And we started off with, oh God, if I can tell you guys, we started off with just Amazon Fire tablets. We literally got videos. Thankfully, Bo and I are salesmen at heart, and we just went at it. We went to every single business. You go to 9 times out of 10, any business here in Dallas, but any brick and mortar business here in Dallas is going to know who Oyster is. We walk around with our t-shirts, and we really did an amazing grassroots campaign that really helped us, take it to the next level. Now, our value proposition developed into us getting more complex, developing, and putting together better softwares and being able to understand, like the title implies, right? Mobility-based media. So what we're trying to do is basically represent or help advertise and kind of the Robin Hoods of the digital out-of-home industry. Anything, digital advertisements, trying to become the Robin Hoods. I think SMBs are extremely misrepresented in this segment, right? It makes up 60% of ad spend is done by your local businesses. And who do you see when you're on billboards? Who do you see when you're in the back of a taxi? You're seeing Red Bull, Starbucks, McDonald's. We know they exist. That's nothing new. Everybody knows. Nobody wants to know. You don't get to Phoenix, Arizona. You don't get to Miami and like, oh, I want to know where McDonald's is at. There's one in every corner. Who cares about where that's at? That's the reality. So we were like, this is extremely underrepresented. We want to be the guys that are going to make it, affordable for small businesses, which is not. And, billboard will cost you up to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a month. And we're like, that's just not they're not taking into consideration. And that's what we're doing. We want to be able to help out, disrupt the industry, revolutionize. And through that, we found out that a lot of people really engage with these advertisements, and they do. When people are in mobility, whether it be any type of transportation, they really are in a mindset of being able to become a consumer, right? You're driving, where are you going? You're not going to not spend money. If you're driving out somewhere, you're stopping by at a restaurant at some point. You're stopping by either to shop. You're stopping by to go see your friends, to do something. So everything is surrounded about, when you're on the move, you're spending money some way or the other. Now, it is our job as Oyster to influence people in a positive way, to be able to look out for these other local businesses that are underrepresented. Hey, this is like you said, Mikosina is a spot, right? Mikosina is a spot. Go get yourself a Mambo taxi, because that's what everyone gets. And that's what we want to put in front of people. We want people to understand and feel like they're not being bothered. Nobody gets bothered by valuable information. You get bothered by invaluable information. We think Oyster brings that to the table, again, in a very underrepresented segment of the digital out-of-home industry.
Nice. Bo, it's good that you're back. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
We thought we missed you there, Bo.
You know,
I was like, where did he go? No. I was like, what is going on?
And how you tied into this whole thing.
What can I say? Technical difficulties with machines, but we learn a lot. As people that own a lot of screens, we know about that. Glad to be here. Bo Sijuade, co-founder and CEO at Oyster. A little bit about myself. First generation Nigerian American, tech entrepreneur, 24 years old. Live here in Dallas, have lived here for about 13 years. Prior to that, Las Vegas, and born in Baltimore. So excited to be on the show with you guys and tell you about all the awesome stuff that Fermin and I are cultivating here in Dallas.
Welcome to the show. So we have a topic for today. There's a specific theme that you guys want to cover. Maybe we could introduce that. Carlos, you want to introduce the show? The topic?
Absolutely. Today, Tulio. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks to our guests for being with us. And today we're going to be speaking about mobility-based media, capturing audiences on the go. So we're going to be discussing, or we're going to be trying to understand how consumers engage with close proximity media. I look forward to learning what that is. And advertising through mobility. So that's the topic that our guests chose for today. First question for Fermin and Bo. Why did you choose this particular topic? Why did you feel that it might be relevant for the world out there?
I'll let Bo take it because I did speak a little bit more on it. So Bo.
Great. Go, Bo.
Yeah, absolutely. So we chose this topic because we're excited to explain the value proposition of Oyster, and we think through COVID-19 and how it's shifted not only just digital out of home, our industry, but the entire landscape of media advertising and how brands are spending money on advertisement. We think the future will be targeting consumers on the go through close proximity. And so I'm not sure if Fermin explained earlier, but what we do at Oyster is we outfit rideshare vehicles, taxis with screens that display Geo Fence media to passengers to influence them where to go based on street level location of their trip. And so we think it's a very exciting topic. We think it's the future. If you're in a urban city in the United States, you're probably seeing a lot of screens and holograms and taxis and rideshares with digital signage on top of it already. And so, we're just excited to be here and talk about that.
So just to clarify, close proximity, we're talking about screens inside of a ride, a taxi, whether it's Uber, Lyft, it doesn't matter. It's a taxi, right? Screens on my shopping cart. Is that considered a close proximity screen as well?
Yeah,
Like
there's so many variances of digital signages out there. That's one. You may. I'm not sure if you're referring to the new Amazon shopping experience, or if you're. Is that what you're referring to, or?
Right. I mean, there's some shopping carts that have just a fixed billboard right by the handle, but some are outfitting them with digital displays now.
Yeah.
So that's just to clarify what close proximity devices we're talking about, things that are not necessarily your phone or a tablet, but they are within your preview view, right in front of you, whether it's on a taxi or a shopping cart or what have you. Correct?
Right, and to redefine it a little bit, when we think of close proximity media, we think of it in the sense of I'm a brand, I'm an advertiser, I want to target my target consumer segment when they're outside of their home, but I also want to target them when they're in close proximity to my physical location.
Okay. So it's not about where the screen is. It's about local. Got it. That's why I wanted to clarify, because close to me, I think, meaning any device in front of me. So meaning businesses close by to where I'm seeing it on my device.
Yes.
Got it. And how do you guys do that? You use like Geo Fencing? Is there any technology you've adopted to be effective with that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Bo. So we've adopted some sort of geofencing and some other proprietary values on our end that obviously, as we grow larger, right, we try to to mitigate and keep it in house, our strategies and how we're really targeting outside is really try to keep it in house, right? Did I lose you all?
No, we're good. We're
Oh,
here.
okay.
So let's just play this out, right?
Mhm.
You go after local businesses
Mhm.
in a particular area. Let's call it Dallas Fort Worth. Let's just narrow it down to an area, or Highland Park, Dallas, doesn't matter. You go to those businesses and say, hey, look, we'd like to showcase you to consumers that are close by to you so that we can let them be aware of perhaps there's a sale going on or a special or what have you. And so you create a database or a network of these advertisers, let's call them advertisers. And then how do you then get it in front of the consumers? It's all on these Ubers and know those. How are you then determining the who to present? How do you give priority to whom? How is it structured? How do you make that happen?
Yes. So if you're, so we partner with fleets and drivers independently that use services like Uber, Lyft, et cetera, executive travel. So we put these screens, one of these, in the back seat, in the headrest, and it will display media. And that media is conditioned to play based on the time of day, based on the GPS location of the screen in the vehicle, right? And so all of these condition factor into what that passenger is ultimately going to see. Of course, we can see, where people are going, and we can cater ads based on, where we educated guess as far as where we think the route's going to go. So a lot of people, right, they like to go to hospitality-based places, restaurants, bars, events, etc.
Is there any other segmentation done? Like you just mentioned that it's like geolocation that gives you the advertisement. Is there any other segmentation, maybe such as like age, gender, interest? I don't know. Maybe because you have access. I'm not sure if you guys have access to the person's profile on Uber. I'm not sure if you can see the age or something, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, so we use computer vision, and essentially we can determine roughly, and this is all within compliance, but we can determine roughly, what gender someone might be within a certain accuracy level. We can determine how long people are paying attention to ads and other valuable metrics that advertisers would want to see to measure how effective their campaign is in total.
That's great. And is this interactive or just like plain advertisement? Like
we have different forms of interactivity that we've been able to place, like SMS, like text messaging, you sending promo codes through that, QR codes, and a variety of HTML5s. Granted, through COVID, we've tried to be extremely, extremely careful with the HTMLs and actually adding interactivity where they touch. So we're trying to keep away from that in the meanwhile. Obviously, we're a couple days from the vaccine, so it seems here in the US, right? So hopefully once that rolls out, we'll be able to add that and add way more value to our advertisers again and to our clients.
I got a quick question. I like your, how can I say this, your motto or your slogan about building smart cities. So in that context, what do you mean exactly by building smart cities? I'm just curious. And then I have another question, but I'd like to address this one first. What do you mean exactly by building smart cities? For those who might be watching and might not have a clue.
Absolutely. I do feel like once you have a lot of your city digitalized, right, it's going to take like multiple cities to the next step, right? So we have potential to be able to get in contact with local governments, state governments, even national. So it starts adding another value of how people can communicate within each other, right? And how you can actually drive people to places that, like I mentioned before, maybe under-segmented at that moment or underrepresented at that moment, right? So let's say a local government wants to communicate something. That's the way that I see us going into the future as well. And we are leading, hopefully, some conversations sometime soon with local governments here within Texas and trying to build that value. I do believe that as I mentioned, as we move forward, you start seeing, like, I think Tesla wants to roll out self-driving vehicles, right? We start rolling out digital advertisement to try to understand people a lot better. I think that data can be shared with local governments. That data that we start gathering can be shared in a very positive light, not a negative light. It's more about consumerism, right? Maybe for local businesses to start placing business. Hey, this is a great place to put pizza place, right? The closest pizza place to this area is this far away. We do see a lot of people, interacting with our pizza advertisement within this, local street. So then we can start helping consumerism, helping cities be built in a much, much smarter capacity than they have been before. Maybe even like start helping with, tracking traffic and tracking different types of data that we're able to capture within our screen as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Fermin. And one more is, well, you seem to have a mission, which is to simplify the way brands discover their next customer. So what I'd like to ask you is, okay, let me put it this way. Do you have at stake at all in the content that is being handled between the companies, brands, and their customer base? So do you have a stake at this, or how do you go about making sure that you participate in the right, let's put it this way, in the right in an ethical type of content scenario? I don't know if I explained myself, but I certainly hope so.
Oh yeah, you definitely do. Go ahead. I'll let Bo touch. Of course, I just touched on the previous topic.
Yeah, so we're heavily involved on the content side. I mean, if you're gonna operate an out-of-home network, what you'll find very quickly is that customers need your help kickstarting their campaign, right? So we cultivate all the ads on our platform. We film them, we produce them, and that's one of our strengths. And as far as ethical standards, we have standard guidelines as far as how the content's created, and then we also want to make sure certain things, profanity, nudity, things of that nature, religion, politics, are not broadcast on our network. So we're creating a fair environment for anyone that's watching our network.
Great, thank you so much, Bo.
Fantastic.
Okay, back to you, Tulio.
So currently, which markets are you just focused in the Dallas area, or are you planning to take this nationwide? What is your plan?
Currently, we're in the Dallas DFW area. We're currently looking to launch in Q1 for the rest of the Texas market, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. And then opportunistically, based on that, there's a lot of great cities here in the United States that we envision our Oyster being, but we'll keep you a little bit in suspense. We'll see.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right? I'm also
Yeah.
curious about your expansion. Is it to continue to provide the full suite of services with the equipment, or do you foresee eventually licensing the platform and the buyers network, the advertisers, to other platforms that might be providing similar out of home advertising solutions? What's your long-term vision?
Yeah, so with that's one of our. I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah,
so that's what makes us different. On the front end, it's as simple as, or unsophisticated as, you're seeing screens and advertisement. But on the back end, so much data that we're collecting, hundreds of thousands of data points, and part of that smart city manifesto is that you have different networks out there that you might own a screen in a mall somewhere, and someone else may own a screen at an airport, and it might make sense to the advertiser to advertise on both, but there's been miscommunication. So now you have all these types of demand side platforms, programmatic, which is a big technology in our space, where customers can go to one portal and execute their campaign across multiple screens. So the whole industry, in short, to answer, yes, right, we are building that. You have to participate on with that type of technology, programmatic DSP at some form or level. But yes, we imagine that in the future, Oyster's technology and our know-how and our proprietary way of displaying media can be licensed and replicated across multiple markets, not just the U.S. but internationally as well.
And I was going to say, this is something that's like industry standard. This is where the future is going. And that's what I meant in, making a smart city. That's where everything gets digitalized. I mean, everything starts getting communication. So we're, as consumers, we're being offered much more relevant and things that are going to help us really in the long term.
Well, but if you look at the LumaScape ad tech space, it's so fragmented, right? And everybody's got their specialty. You're either a buy side or a sell side provider, or you're an agency or a creative agency. There's different elements that you tie in and bring together. Usually that's what a good agency will do, right? We'll tie in and bring together a solution for the end customer. The end customer is not always the SMB. That's the problem. So you guys are already serving a marketplace that's underserved, but you're providing a few things. You're providing the tie-in for the buys. You're providing the demand through the eyeballs, and you're also providing the equipment to display the content, and you're doing the creative of the content, which is a very unique thing. So do you consider yourself a technology company, an agency? How do you see yourselves?
Data, I think. I think data. We're a data company. I think that's where we're going to lead. I think that's what's going to lead, right? As any large company, and we, both Bo and I are extremely ambitious. Our goals are not just to become media agency or ad agency or tech company, or we truly do believe that as everything intertwines, the driving force of the future is definitely going to be data, right? It's the gasoline that's going to fuel all of us to understand, what we're doing to a much higher level. Granted, all the other things are just adding to what we understand about our consumer and our segment.
Absolutely. And echoing Fermin here, yes, we're definitely, I'd say we're a data company. When you look at MarTech in general, in 2000, like just over the last 9 years, 2011, I think there's just a statistic, there was maybe 140, 170 marketing tech companies. Today you have well over 7,000. And the thing is, when you look at media spend, online ads, I believe, was around 120, 140 billion estimate in spend in the US last year alone. Our industry is at 8.5 last year. And there's so much opportunity with all these marketing tech platforms for our specific segment of media to gain more market share of total media spend. But the problem is that the tools that are used, the way they're explained, the UI, the UX is way more sophisticated than the buyer. And so by us focusing on the data, and we present our customers right now as we speak with unique data sets like route trends, insights, number of drop-offs, foot traffic, passengers, things of that nature that are sophisticated on the back end, but unsophisticated as far as what the customer can see. I think that's really valuable. And I think there's an opportunity for us to work with multiple tech firms in our space to tie in our data set with theirs, but present it to where it makes sense. So the customer doesn't have to spend a month learning a new portal or platform. They can just simply spend money on a campaign and see results.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like you guys have been very busy building this out. So congratulations to you. I know you're very focused in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but it's always good sometimes to have a very centralized area to start, own it, build it out, learn from it, and then expand in a smart way. What's the journey been like? We're up on time. What's the journey been like for you guys as entrepreneurs building this? What have you learned about yourself in this process?
I've learned that, I think I can speak for both of us here because I'm obviously Bo and I say Bo and I are like a marriage, I think, at this point. Honestly, he knows everything about me. He knows where I'm at all the time. He knows, what time I'm having lunch, what time I'm about to hop in the shower. He knows everything at this point, which is funny. So I've learned that, entrepreneurship is like a marriage. I think it does take a lot of communication to make it work. I've learned that I think Bo and I are extremely resilient. Going through COVID, building it out in one of the worst economic crises of, history, really modern history, has definitely made us want to pull our hair out a lot. But there's some days where you wake up and it's like you want to cry. And there's some days that you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm capable, I'm intelligent enough. I know I can get through this. Personally, I think it's definitely driven us to be innovative, be creative, and definitely taking out that extra, como you know how they say, how he's saying that video, Tulio, get that extra foi outside of your mental, key there, and it's just bringing out I think the best of both of us. Then go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, I would say, as in, it's funny because this Oyster kind of snowfalled, or avalanched into what it is today. And it's definitely encouraging that, what Fermin and I do inspires and motivates our peer group so much. We definitely get that. It's definitely something that, if you're going to do it, you have to be fully committed to it. There's definitely points where you want to give up, or you're entering you're first to market like us. So it's people are like, what? You want to do what with screens? And you have to stay focused and motivated. And COVID-19 created climate for us where what was already going to be difficult with or without, a cinematic year, even more difficult, but it just forces you in a corner where, you're either going to continue and thrive or give up. And, we chose to continuing and going, and we're doing great.
Well, it's been great to have you both. Congratulations on all your continued success. We will look forward to following your journey and seeing how you expand, and hopefully have you back in a little while later and see what kind of use cases you have to share with us. We're done for the week. Want to wish you all again a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Enjoy your time off with family. We will be back Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific to do the recap show. We will recap 3 shows. Even though we had a short week, we still managed to get 3 shows in. So excited to do that, and we will highlight all the key points. So come back at 1 p.m. next Monday for another edition of Dojo Live. Until then, take care and stay safe.
Thank you all.
Tulio, don't forget to mention before you go, don't mention that for the recap, if you're watching and you want to be one of these squares right here, and as a guest, just let us know through any of our many channels out there. Just leave us a note or a comment. We'll get back to you right away. Or you can simply go to the Dojo Live website and send us a note or something, and then we'll make it happen, because we want you, the viewer, as a guest right here on the show, on the recap show on Mondays. That's all I wanted to add. So thank you so much. Thanks to our guests for being here with us today.
Thank you all. If y'all are ever in
Thank
Dallas,
you.
let us know. We'll be more than happy to host y'all once COVID is over, granted.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all. You have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll take you up